Welcome to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. This podcast is dedicated to EAS employees of the U.S. Postal Service and members of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. So, pour yourself a cup of coffee and join us for today's episode. And now, here's your host, Robert Wakefield.
Good morning, Branch 32. And good morning, NAPS family across the country. Welcome to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast presented by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union here in Nashville, Tennessee. I am your host, Robert Wakefield. I am the president of Branch 32. That's right. Thank you so much. And we have a fabulous show lined up for you, so let's go ahead and let's pour that first cup. It's never too early to start a financial adventure. This summer, we're helping our youngest members reach for the stars with a special boost to their savings. Open a new youth savings account with us and watch how fast your money grows. As a bonus, we will add $25 to your child's youth savings account when it's opened and enter them into a drawing for a chance to win a new iPad. The Nashville Post Office Credit Union, people helping people since 1925. And for our first cup this morning, we are in our Caffeine and Candidates series, and we are going to continue that very thing by talking to the candidate that's running for Secretary Treasurer of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. Ladies and gentlemen, he's been on the show before. Welcome back, Richard Green. Richard, how are you?
Bob, I'm doing great, man. Excited to spend some time with you talking about the campaign and what the future of our organization looks like.
That's exactly right. Tell me, now you've been the Eastern Region Vice President for how long?
Yeah, I've been the Eastern Region Vice President for 10 years, Bob, but I've served on the executive board, and I bring 16 years of executive board experience to my campaign. I was the Capital Atlantic Area Vice President from 2010 to 2016, and then I've been the Eastern Region Vice President from 2016 until today. So bring all of that experience to the table as I run for National Secretary Treasurer.
That's a long time to be on the executive board. Now, what is the biggest challenge that you face as the Eastern Region Vice President? What is your biggest challenge?
I think the biggest challenge is, just making sure that we keep our members informed, that we represent them in a way that shows integrity and that they can count on me when they need to be represented. I think that as a regional vice president, being responsible for 11 states, your members need to understand that you are available for them, and not that you're some guy that's up high in the organization, but a guy that meets them where they're at and is ready to assist them whenever they need to be assisted.
That is so cool. That is so good. And with 16 years experience, I would think that comes easier with time, I would think.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes it depends on what, it's so interesting. Members come up with something that you've never faced before.
That's so true.
It's time to get into the manuals, to do some research to make sure that you're providing the member with the most wisest counsel you possibly can. And then when you don't know stuff, understanding that we have resources across the entire board, even our resident officers, that we can reach out to assist us to make sure that we're providing the representation that our members deserve.
That's exactly right. So yeah, I'm branch president 32. I can't imagine being over 11 states. That to me is amazing.
Yes. Well, I have, and the thing about it, Bob, is that, no one can do this alone. I have three great partners, three area VPs that we work together. The Mideast Area VP, Tony Delagiacono, the Capital Atlantic Area VP, Troy Griffin, and the Pioneer Area AVP, Ed last year, who do a great job of representing the members, and we kind of like work as a team to represent members across the Eastern region.
That is so good. Now, you're going from being the Eastern Region Vice President, and you want to run, or you are running for the Secretary Treasurer. The question I want to know from you, Richard, is why do you want to be Secretary Treasurer?
Well, I think that there comes a moment and a space in your life where you have to make some decisions when you come up to different points in your life or different seasons in your life. And with Ivan making the decision to retire, Chuck making the decision to run for national president from our resident officers, and then Jimmy Warden making the decision to run for executive vice president. Of course, that left a position vacant. And after prayer with my family, consultation with members across the nation that were close to me, that are close to me, we made a decision that it was time for me to step up into this role. And I felt like the season and the timing was perfect. I'm a man of faith, and I feel like God is opening doors for me. And I just believe that now is the time for me, to put myself out there and to share what God's placed on my heart about how we can move our organization forward.
Oh, I love that. I love that you're a man of faith. I am too, and I just think that's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about what some of the things that you would probably want to do your first day in office. How would the first day of office with Richard Green being Secretary Treasurer, what would that look like?
Well, I think the thing as Secretary Treasurer is understanding, what the role of the job is, the fiduciary responsibilities of the role, the practical aspect of the work. But Bob, I believe that when our members elect us to run for these jobs, leaders bring vision to the organization. I believe that's something that leaders are called to do.
Right.
And the vision that's been placed on my heart is how do we go about identifying, developing, and raising our next generation of leaders in our organization. I'm a sports guy, and every great sports team has a great bench.
Right.
It's time for NAPS to develop its bench so that when people like you and me, when we decide to step off into the next season of our lives, we have someone that's ready and able to lead our organization into the future. And I don't believe that means that people, seasoned members like me and you, Bob, that we step away. No, we become wise counsel for the members that are stepping into those leadership roles, and we're there to provide them as wise counsel as they lead us into the future.
That's a great point, Richard, because the fact is, you and I are getting older, and there's
not older.
Oh, season. Okay, that's a better word. And it's so true that we have got to raise up the next generation of those who's going to be leading NAPS. And I think that your idea of developing something that will help that, I think that's phenomenal.
Well, just to share a little bit about what that looks like for me, Bob, is that, in 2024 at our convention, we asked our members at the convention to do something that we hadn't asked them to do in 20 years. And that was to allow us to raise our per capita dues. I believe, and we thank our members for saying yes to that. By saying yes to that, that has put us on such great financial footing as an organization. And I believe that it's time for the organization, NAPS headquarters, to invest back into the organization. And what that looks like for me is I'm going to be advocating as your National Secretary Treasurer with the other 3 resident officers and the executive board that we invest back in our next generation of leaders that have been identified at the local and state level by providing training at no cost to our local and state branches. The investment that you made in us, we thank you for it, and now it's time for us to invest back, and I believe we'll receive that back tenfold from the members that we prepare to lead us into the future.
Absolutely, and that's one thing that you'll hear, I guess, when you're crisscrossing the country campaigning. I guess you've heard that a lot, that training seems to be a major issue for all branches.
Yeah, and it's to me, it's kind of like a two frame thing, right? It's like we've got members, younger members, that we want to develop them for NAPS, right? So that they can be better NAPS officers. But we also need to develop them professionally for the ones who are looking for upward mobility in the Postal Service. Now, one thing that Ivan has left us with, which is a great vision, and he's going to be there with us as the immediate past president, is we're standing up the NAPS Training Academy. I believe that we can use the NAPS Training Academy not only to develop our members who to be greater NAPS officers, but to prepare them professionally for upward mobility within the Postal Service. And I think that as we stand this up and we start developing this training platform where our members can actually go online or go to the app that we're going to develop, because we know that younger people communicate in a way different than we do, is that we develop, all of this comes into development phase, and this is how we move forward in NAPS, developing our younger generation professionally and for NAPS.
Oh, that's a great idea. I love that, Richard. I love the fact that upward mobility is part of what we do in NAPS. We're not just being satisfied with you being where you are. We want you to grow.
Absolutely. Hey, Bob, that's such a great point. And you know, the thing about it is that as we grow the younger members of the organization, they're going to share with their friends who may be, I don't call them non-members anymore, and we can get into that a little bit. I call them potential members.
Oh, I like that.
20,000 potential members out there, when they hear what NAPS is providing to their members, not only developing them to be better NAPS officers, but developing them to be better professionally, that's the thing that I think will pique their interest, and they'll become members of our organization, because I believe that we're the best management organization out there today.
Oh, I do too. Without fail, I think we are the best one. So we've got a couple of minutes left, Richard. Tell me some of the stories that you've run into across the country as you're campaigning. What's been exciting for you to see people coming out and talking to you?
Well, I'll share this one story. You know, I was in Michigan, and after I spoke, I ate breakfast the next morning with a young guy, one that I would categorize as a next generation leader. And we had a great conversation. And when I got home, I got an email from him. Oh, wow. In that email, he asked me would I be a mentor and a coach for him, because what we talked about touched his heart.
Wow.
And I was like, and Robert, I was like, you know what? That's what this means to me. That's what it looks like for me. And this young man, that's a blueprint for how we can reach our young members across the country. Of course, I told him I would be a mentor and a coach for him. He said, well, what do you want me to do first? I said, I want you to get a copy of the Constitution and bylaws of our organization and a copy of your local Constitution and bylaws. And I want you to read them. And then I'm going to reach out to you. And then we're going to talk about your career development. That's what this can look like for us moving forward. Not just we do a great job of representing our members.
Sure.
We do that to the 100th level.
Right.
What I want to do is get past that now to the development piece where, Robert, you can be a mentor and a coach for some young person who's saying, hey, man, I want to be a president. Hey, I want to be the national president of the Association of Postal Supervisors, but I want to develop in the Postal Service also. Yeah. And we can do that for them.
Well, and that's great, Richard, because if they develop into great professionals, they'll develop into great people. And so that's a key thing, don't you think?
Absolutely, man. For me, it's like that. What I'm looking for is where we are so in tune and in touch with our people that it not only permeates their professional, their NAPS lives, but even their home life.
Yeah.
To where we're making their lives just better because we're preparing them for life.
That's it. That is so good. All right. Well, Richard, we're coming up on the convention. Is there any last things that you would like to tell the people who listen to the Saturday Cup of Joe?
I'm excited about seeing everyone at the convention. Please come up and shake my hand if you don't know me, because I want to be a person that sees everybody.
Right.
That's one thing that's just so important to me, that everybody is important, and they need to know that they're important to us as resident officers, and that I will be there for them if they so choose to elect me to be the next National Secretary Treasurer of the National Association of Postal Supervisors.
All right. That is great, Richard. Hey, listen, I got one other question that's just burning a hole in my pocket here. Do you drink coffee?
I do. As a matter of fact, I have a cold brew sitting in front of me right
Oh, do you really?
now. I do.
All right, so let me ask you this. Do you drink it black or do you drink it with stuff in it?
Well, I'm a person who likes the vanilla sweet cream cold brew from Starbucks. So I have a little
Nice.
stuff in it.
Yeah, so you put some stuff in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been so fun. I've asked every person that's been on this show on that question, how do they take their coffee? And everybody does it a little different, but all of them seem to drink coffee, and I think that's fantastic.
Absolutely, man. Hey, Robert, I thank you for what you do here, man. The opportunity to share, how all of us who are stepping up to run for these positions are able to share. And we thank you for the time that you're putting into doing this.
Absolutely. Richard, great talking to you. We'll see you at the convention, okay?
All right, buddy.
All right. Bye-bye. This summer, cool off with a little something sweet from your friends at the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. From June through August, just stop by the credit union and enjoy free ice cream. Oh my goodness, if Brian Wagner lived in Tennessee. It's our way of saying thank you for being a part of our postal family. And while you're here, let us help you make your money work a little easier with honest service, great rates, and people who know you by name. The Nashville Post Office Credit Union. People helping people since 1925. And for the second cup today, we're going to continue our summer tradition of the second cup being obscure holidays of summer. Good gracious. We've really discovered some of the weird ones. Today is July the 11th, so today is Cheer Up the Lonely Day. That's right. Cheer Up the Lonely Day. Tomorrow, July 12th, is Different Colored Eyes Day. Now, that's an obscure holiday. Okay. I don't know what to think about that. On the 13th, we have National French Fries Day. That's a day that you can really sink your teeth into. And then finally, you can also, on July the 14th, you can also celebrate Shark Awareness Day. That's right, Shark Awareness Day. When I'm in any kind of ocean water, I'm trying to be aware of sharks, so I don't need a day for that. The 15th of July is National Hot Dog Day. I love that. And the 16th, of course, is World Snake Day. And then finally, on the 17th of July, we have World Yellow Pig Day. Okay. Well, I'm not going to waste my time looking into all of those right there, but go out there and have yourself a yellow pig. All right, that is going to do it for today's Saturday Cup of Joe podcast presented by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. I think you know what you need to do. You need to go to YouTube. Our YouTube channel is at NAPSHQ32. Go in there and subscribe. We are trying to get 5 new subscribers this week. And will you do that? We would love it if you did. You can get your, wherever you get your podcast, you can hear the Saturday Cup of Joe on Apple and Spotify, anywhere that has a podcast forum. You will be able to hear us right there. So be sure to share, like, and subscribe, as you all know to do. And I want to thank my special guest, Richard Green, for being a part of today's show. He is running for the National Secretary Treasurer for NAPS, and so it was great to have him on today. So, again, thanks for listening to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast, and remember, every great weekend starts with a great cup of Joe. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. Please note that the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Robert Wakefield and do not necessarily reflect the views of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. We welcome your questions and comments, so send those to SaturdayCupofJoe@gmail.com.